Hey, North Dwarfers! Welcome to another fun episode where I'm going to break down my tier list for the Wagstaff staff. So, to be included in this list, you just had to have worked at Wagstaff at some point. So, you may see some characters in here as we go through them. You're like, well, did they really work at Wagstaff? They did for an episode, or in some regard. So, I'll explain more as we get into it. But let's have some fun with this, and let's see where people end up on my list. So we'll compare Mike's and mine at some point, see which you agree with. Hopefully it's me, Team JB. If not, it's fine. You can be Team Mike too. So let's start off with our first teacher slash, well, let's go with principal. Let's start off with the big guy. Principal Spores. We don't have a picture. We don't know what he looks like. He's kind of like Ginger. For Principal Spores, I have quite a bit to say about him. In general, the idea that we, one, don't see him, that he's kind of, I don't love his style. There's the episode where Louise is a principal. He decides he's going to fire, pretty much anybody that he fires. Just Mr. Schnurr, just basically do his job for him. And it just drives me crazy that he's going to do that to Mr. Frond. So it's just weird that he does that. And in general, just the assemblies he doesn't like. He always nixes certain things. It's just interesting that he's the way he is. So for Principal Spores, I'm not a huge Spores fan. So I might put him down more at the C level because I don't really see any reason that Principal Spores is around too much. I feel like he's also away. He's not really ever at school. Let's go with Mr. Grant next. He is the Wagstaff School News guy. He's also going to be the Spanish teacher. So let's see, where would I put him? I find him to be very fun as a Wagstaff news guy. I think he has a lot of great lines and great jokes. And when he brings up like Tina being mad she didn't get first lead reporter, he's like, do you like asking about what kind of juice people like or what juice you could bring people? And then he really tried to get Tina caught as being the mad pooper because he's kind of vindictive. And in Spanish, I did enjoy him trying his best to use Spanish in the appropriate way. So for Mr. Grant, I find him to be fun. And of course, it's Will Forte. So I think it's just fun to have him in that in general. I'm going to put him probably at a B tier. He's pretty good. He is all right. Now we get to a fun one. So Miss Schnurr is complicated. She's great. I love her relationship with Zeke, where she's just like, you get new shorts. She's like, yeah, what's up, girl? And like, he just has that great mentality with her. She's a David Schwimmer fan. She's like always getting like caught basically being in charge of doing Principal Spores' dirty work. And she's kind of got this carefree, don't give a shit kind of attitude. And I just kind of like remember a lot of secretaries in schools kind of having that vibe because they're just like, I'm here to just do my job and get out of here. She kind of reminds me of the lady in Parks and Rec, who's kind of a similar role. I think her name is Beavers, is her last name in the show, but she kind of has that vibe. So for me, Miss Schnurr is fun. I give her an A because I think when she's in it, she can be a lot of fun. Oh, now we got a fun one. We got the Dinkler, Mr. Dinkler. If you don't remember who Mr. Dinkler is, he is the substitute science teacher when Mr. Blevins got a weird case of gout. So this is the guy who didn't like volcanoes. He's a Thomas Edison reenactor. It's Topsy. I love Topsy. It's a great episode. The musical number, Gene writing that is just incredible. And just Mr. Fischoeder and Gail doing that, plus Spice Ups. It's a good episode in general, but Mr. Dinkler as a teacher is kind of like Louise's kryptonite in a lot of ways, and she does break him, which I did love at the end. It makes him cry. So for Mr. Dinkler, I kind of like how he's sinister and evil, much like Edison, and then had to be corrected. So I'm going to put Dinkler down at a B rank. I wouldn't mind seeing Dinkler back. Oh, now we got one of my favorites. So we finally get Miss Merkin, Twerkin Merkin. She's a fun teacher. She plays keyboard. She tries to teach Gene. She does like the Die Hard, the musical music for Gene because she's not allowed to be in the Working Girl one. He's so obsessed with her, and she's such a good person for most of all, like trying to teach the kids music and have them play xylophones the way that she was doing it. It's voiced by Brian Husky. For me, Miss Merkin is great. and her sister's also great. But I'm gonna put Miss Merkin at our first S tier. I really like the Merkin. All right, next we have one where some people are like hit or miss. We Miss Selbo. The first time we meet Miss Selbo, she's kind of like, it's where Linda's trying to basically help her get back with her ex, but she's been like stealing his mail and peeing in his like flowers or doing some weird stuff. And she's not the greatest partner or ex to be with, it seems like. She gets a little more tame as we move on, where she's like helping Louise get out of trouble with that helicopter, with the, I think it's a Barobu copter, and, or the, yeah, I think it's Barobu. And, or it's Kuchiko. I can't remember which one it is, but she's a little more tame in those episodes. So Miss Selbo, for me, she could like take it or leave it. Honestly, I kind of have her a C. All right, Miss Twitchell. Miss Twitchell, Miss Twitchell. We really don't hear much about Miss Twitchell. We see her in background a lot. Miss Twitchell is Gene's teacher, and the only quote I can remember from Gene is when she says that he doesn't put any effort into his stuff at school when he makes the pantheon out of popsicle sticks. He says that, how is she to tell me about putting in effort when she's the D4SA? It's a fun line, but that's all we know about her. So I'm going to put her at a D. We don't see much about her. If she had more, maybe she'd be up higher. So this one's one of those where people are like, I don't remember this, or I don't feel like this is like a true thing. But Louise technically did work at Wagstaff for principal for a day. She won the award for selling all those candy bars legally / illegally, and she worked her butt off to get it. So if I had to rate Louise as a staff member at Wagstaff, she accomplished a lot in her time. She got a lot of things done. She did third recesses. She did all kinds of fun hat and stuff throughout the day. She also was able to like save Mr. Franz's job and really helped out. She got an assembly going. Louise gets things done. I think Mr. Spores, Principal Spores, should be put on alert that Louise definitely could do his job and make it look easier. So I have Louise up at an S tier because she would do fine. She could run the show. The next one we've got is Miss Jacobson. Now, Miss Jacobson is in a lot of episodes, especially at the beginning of Bob's Burgers. First couple seasons, she's there quite often. Bob does find her attractive and caused that whole issue at the school dance where Linda threw a hissy fit like a teen and wanted Bob to have his dance experience. And then they got drunk and threw up on each other. Miss Jacobson's also there for the trial. She does a lot of fun things with the kids. And honestly, I find her to be more fun than most of the teachers that are at Wagstaff. And it seems like she actually genuinely kind of cares and wants them to do well. So I'm going to put her at an A. If we're looking at the next one, we've got a winner here. We've got Mr. Bronca. Mr. Bronca, we don't know much about Mr. Bronca, but anytime he's on screen, I'm excited because he's fun. He engages with the kids. He's kind of like the fun janitor that like, he just is, he's always down for a good time. He doesn't get them in trouble. He has to know that they're in the building a lot doing things because it'll be like the mop being shown up in some random place with a note that says you're a secret admirer and stuff. We know that he maybe or maybe not used to run a country and there was a coup and that's why he's here. I think just there's enough we know about him that makes him interesting and fun, and not enough that keeps him to be interesting as well. So for Mr. Bronca, he's also one of my S tier people. He's fun at Wagstaff. Let's see here. Who do we got next? Mr. Ambrose, the librarian. Billy Eichner. I do enjoy the sass, the loudness, the like, which please, the quick remarks. It's totally like just amazing to have Billy on the show for this. So for me, Mr. Ambrose has so much to offer. So Mr. Ambrose is probably going to be one of those that I'm going to put at an A tier. He's right up there. I don't know, maybe just a little bit more of him more frequently. I know he's busy, so that could be why we don't see him as much, but always love Ambrose. The next one we've got is Bob. Now, Bob technically was a teacher. He was a substitute home ec teacher. He made the home ec restaurant. He took down Hildy. He took down, I can't remember the guy's name, from Cavco Foods, who's voiced by who did that voice? Rudy. Brian Husky did that voice too. But he also does Miss Merkin too. So if we're looking at like Bob as a substitute teacher, and we get the whole Dead Poet Society with the popcorn, it's a great vibe. Bob's actually a really good teacher once he gets into his groove. At the beginning, he wanted to mace his class with pepper spray because he felt they were threatening him. And then really they grew to like him. I think if Bob could be a teacher, he's a great teacher, especially if he allows himself to teach. I think sometimes he gets in his head a little bit and takes over. So I think Bob as a teacher at Wagstaff deserves to have his S rank, much like Louise. He's good at what he does. And I think the kids really resonated with him. The next one we've got is Coach Blevins. He's our physical education gym guy. There's a lot of good moments with Coach Blevins. Is there enough to justify him being high on the list? I don't know. We do get like the fashion show one. We get the one where Gene's climbing the rope. We get the one where he has to like give excuses for running a mile and he doesn't like throw up. He doesn't like this. There's some fun things about Blevins. He's a salsa instructor. So I think for Coach Blevins, I have him kind of like as a middle of the road, kind of a B teacher. All right. This next person, I know me and Mike were both talking about, we don't really know too much about this teacher. Her name's Miss Schroeder. She's in synchronized swimming. She's like another gym teacher for Louise, I believe, where she's trying to get Louise to take off her hat during dodgeball. And she's like, I've got a raging case. And I can't remember what she says is on there. That's the only time we see her. So for that, I'm sure she's probably named after John Schroeder, one of the executive producers and writers on the show. But there's just not enough there. So I'm going to put her at a D, kind of with Miss Twitchell, because we don't get enough of her. I don't know enough. This person, though, they've only been in like one episode, I believe. But that episode was a huge, huge amount of information about Nurse Liz. Nurse Liz definitely has some issues. I don't necessarily know if they passed any kind of nursing tests or anything, but gets bored easily and wants to create things like super lice and stuff like that. So for her, she's kind of unhinged, kind of like a Gail, but also different in a lot of ways. Kind of like Gretchen and Gail mixed together with a little bit of Louise. So Nurse Liz, as much as we only get her once and only see her occasionally, she is good. So I'm going to put Nurse Liz up in the B range. All right, our next teacher is Mr. DeSanto. Now, he is the speech and debate teacher for Tina and Henry, and also the photography teacher in the later seasons. So I really like him as a speech and debate guy. With photo, he's good enough to kind of make it work. But a speech and debate where where Jocelyn's just like, they're going to win the trophy. We're bring home the iron. She's like, but where's the iguanas going to go? She's like, I don't know, Jocelyn. I don't know. But we're going to have to find somewhere to put him. I love him as the speech and debate guy. He's fun. He's engaging. It's Nick Kroll plays this character. He's great on Big Mouth as well, and just in general, pretty funny guy. So Mr. DeSantos, I think, is a fun teacher. I probably would put them probably in the B range as well. Just maybe a few more episodes with them, and maybe I'd give them a little more. The next one we have is Yuli. So for a lot of you, you may remember him from like Family Fun Time. You also might remember him from, where else does he work? He's a security guard. He's also at the roller skating rink when they have the chinchilla issue. He's also the security guard during Tina Ex Machina episode. So he's the one that puts cookies in the lockers. He's the one that like Louise and Gene fool around with as the robot. And they say like, I am email at the end when he leaves and he wants to help them escape. So I think Yuli is fun. He has great one-liners, but I don't necessarily know if he's like a great teacher in this respect. So I'm going to put Yuli down at a C range. Kind of like Miss Selbo. He's got some pros and cons. The next one we've got is Linda, another Belcher. Technically worked at the school for a day helping Miss Selbo, and she did help solve the mystery of Louise being framed for stealing the helicopter and finding out that it was actually Miss Selbo. So Linda is not a great staff helper. She's not good at filling out envelopes. She's not good at making copies. And oftentimes she gets easily distracted. But she does try to do her best to help out and be a PTA mom and all those things. So she tries. So I'm going to go ahead and put her kind of like at a C range as well. No hard feelings, Linda. The next one we've got is Miss Bisselbender. So Miss Bisselbender is the teacher that we get during the Plight of Christmas, and also the Dollhouse episode that we had this last season 14. Miss Bisselbender has really quickly grown for a lot of people to be someone they really like and a teacher that they've grown fond of. She is technically just a substitute teacher. So she's been helping out as the librarian. She's also helped out as stepping in for Miss Merkin in the music department. I really like them. They're fun. They definitely are more engaged with the kids. They're relatable. And I really just like them as a teacher, and I hope we see more of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put Miss Bisselbender down as a B. And this one is the dark horse. This is Miss LeBons. And LeBons, she's rough around the edges. We've seen her from the beginning. Her voice did change a little bit, but now it's basically what it's been for the last couple seasons. She's rough, and she can be really just snappy and mean at times and have really firm boundaries. And kind of, though, once we have that episode about them getting reviewed and Louise has a change of heart about her, we're seeing that she pushes her to do better and challenges her because she knows she can do better and do more. It kind of made me change a little bit about LeBons. She also goes to Pickles. She drinks. She has like margarita nights with the teachers. She's fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put them down that Miss LeBons deserves to be kind of at the A rank. She deserves it. Well, folks, that is the list. And I hope you enjoy it. I'd like to see where everyone kind of puts these teachers at Wagstaff and where they belong. See if yours lines up with me or with Mike. But if you enjoyed this and other stuff that we talk about with Bob's Burgers, go ahead and check in on From North to Wharf and make sure that you check back into our YouTube and other channels to see what else you like and see if we kind of, agree. If not, oh well, it's my opinion. I can have it. So this is JB from North to Wharf. Have a good night, guys.